Hello, my wonderful little collections of bones. It's me, Glass Lotuses, your friendly and mildly eerie digital artist, writer, and cat lover. How are you doing this evening? I hope you've had a pleasant week. I sent that letter with stickers out to my mom, and she received them a couple days ago. She was so happy, and now I feel confident about sending things in the mail. So I'll be aiming to open up my Etsy shop tomorrow, June 30th, for sticker orders, so please check that out. I'll have some cute art for my webcomic, as well as some random other cute plant and tabletop RPG stickers available. Last week we talked about the last of the three gods in Tiburon's part of the pantheon, which means we are also finished with Order's portion of the pantheon. I want to quickly recap before we dive into Contra, the god of chaos's side of the pantheon. Starting from the top, we have AS9, our robotic god of order, who oversees order, creation, and cyclical elements, and leads half of the pantheon. She is a somewhat paranoid god, as her original mortal life had her fiercely defending the resources she gathered in deep space. From a chemistry and physics-based standpoint, AS9 also represents order on a chemical level. The forming of bonds, the organization of elements into crystalline structures, and a reduction in entropy in all things. She takes energy and stabilizes it into something concrete. Directly following her within the structure of the pantheon are the gods of earth and water. Amanita is our god of earth, and is an advanced fungal colony which gained higher levels of power by consuming a weaver. Weavers, of course, being the creatures which weave universes into existence and can alter the fabric of reality directly. Amanita has many parts to their mind, and while they look effeminate and do go by she/her, they also go by they/them pronouns, as they are a group of mycelium working together. Aside from being the god of earth, they also oversee nature and decay. Tiburon is our god of water, and takes up the form of a merman most typically. Not only does he oversee water, but he oversees monsters as well. The creatures which hunt and terrify. Sea serpents, leviathans, and all things that go bump in the night and splash in dark waters. Beings whose souls have twisted to the point of corruption, as well as those simply horrifying by design. On a more chemical level, these too represent solids and liquids as well, but also they represent more tangible and structured concepts. Amanita works closely with the gods of life and death, knowledge, and vengeance. Elis, the skeletal god of life and death, falls into her sphere because he represents the passing in and out of physical existence, and the passage of energy through the cycle of life. Once that cycle ends for one individual, it fuels the cycle for many others, as is a part of nature and decay and the food chain. Saga, the fairy-like god of knowledge, falls into Amanita's pantheon because to base one's understanding in the world around you is to ground oneself in reality. Deciding based on sources of truth instead of gut impulses is a solid, unyielding means by which to live. As readily as you can feel the earth beneath your feet, so too can you understand the world around you through learning and scientific discovery based in sound logic. Lastly, Ion, the pink, dog-loving god of balance and vengeance, is in Amanita's part of the pantheon because, as with plants, you reap what you sow. If all you sow around you is discontent and anger, so too will ill wishes return to you. If you instead spend your life being kind and building up the people around you, they too will build you up. The gifts you receive are often based on the efforts you put into the world. Within Tiburon's group, you have Selfishness, Frost, and Time. Rora, the warmongering god of selfishness and cruelty, is in Tiburon's pantheon, because whatever is thrown into the sea will be worn down over time. It will take whatever it is given, as the sea is a cruel mistress. Neve, the god of frost, is within the water part of the pantheon because she represents water in a different state, but also falls within the cyclical aspect of the pantheon because she represents the winter season. Finally, Clepsydra, the troublesome god of time, works with Tiburon because one of the oldest timekeeping methods is based on the flow of water. Similarly, water ebbs and flows as the celestial bodies move in their cosmic dance, often used to determine and cut time. Now, with all that reviewed, let's move on to Contra's part of the pantheon and discuss who works closely with the god of air, Cirrus. First up, we have the god of mercy. The god of mercy has no name. He is simply mercy. He was never bequeathed the name, for that gift is reserved for those born of a woman, for those who come into the world surrounded by others of their own kind. No, he was born of the fabric of reality, tangled, alone, and lost in a sea of writhing cords. His mind lit up, and instantly he understood his purpose was to consume. He could exist, perhaps, as the small tangle he was. But should he move the wrong direction, or pull too fiercely against that which bound him, he might simply cease to exist, as easily as he came to be. Thus, the god of mercy acquired a taste for particular things, perchance to live another day. Our god of mercy is no god, merely a god in title. He is a god because he oversees a world and dwells within a pantheon. He is not a god because that is all he may be. To his fullest, mercy is a weaver. Mercy is a weaver with a taste for suffering. The threads twist and coil as the beings tied to them writhe in agony. Be the anguish mental or physical, it matters not to a creature like him. All pain is but threads, tethered just right, and it is those threads he pulls and eats, and with them so does he eat the pain. The sufferer has been freed, and they thank the gods for their mercy, but they do not recognize that they have lost something. For there is a cost to experiencing little adversity in life. There is always a cost. No matter how much he ate, though, mercy could never grow very large. In eating pain, he learned what it meant. He learned what pain meant to those feeling it, and it made him weak. He suffered, for he could not stand the feeling of causing pain, the pain necessary for him to survive. He could not sow the grains he needed to sustain his next harvest. The universe mercy created was full of people scored upon how much positivity or negativity they put into the world. It would have made it easy to find and absorb what he needed, had it not resulted in a society that valued community and happiness. This was the world into which Ion was born, and the order of neutrality. The order caused the first ripples of discontent within the society. Enough suffering began to sustain the weaver's abilities. Mercy grew stronger. Upon Ion's death, he heard out the wishes of one of his most devout followers, and he took her under his wing to act as a spirit. Next came Rora, a demon of a woman who tore the world apart to serve her god. Mercy could barely stand to watch, but consuming the pain she left in her wake allowed him to grow much stronger. He grew and expanded his universe, and his world thrived. That is, until something beyond his realm took notice. This something was far stronger than he was. It was ancient, and it offered him two choices. But truly, there was no choice at all. Mercy's world no longer exists, and Ion and Rora are the remnants of a long-forgotten people. For Mercy's design, I wasn't entirely sure where I wanted to go, but I had an initial guiding concept. I wanted him to have two forms, One that looked normal, unassuming, and perhaps even charming, but otherwise rather unnoteworthy. The other form would be horrifying, unnerving, and disconcerting. I have since decided to change this second depiction, but I don't know if I'll change his normal face. In general, though, Mercy takes on the form that whomever he is talking to finds the most normal. He blends into backgrounds and stays out of the spotlight. He may appear in the written story, but it's possible you'd never even realize it. The decision to give him an overall purple color palette was, I believe, arbitrary, but going back through these drawings, I see I've given a few characters purple themes. Tiburon and Clepsydra come to mind. It's been over 3 years since I drew this, but it's also possible I was meaning for him to look similar in color to a necromancer, to essentially further the idea of him essentially hiding amongst the crowd. As for the Weaver form, I didn't realize until after I had completed the drawing that it somewhat resembled a particular part of female anatomy that I was not intending. I was, I think, originally planning for it to have teeth here, since it's actually supposed to be a mouth, but I then thought that that looked too complicated, so I just went with the mouth part, and then it kind of ended up looking like that. I will almost certainly change this in the future. His eyes were inspired by the compound eyes of a fly, but also by the seed pod of a lotus flower and trypophobia, the fear of many holes. The mouth I wanted to make look creepy, and I also made it unusable as the stomach part is supposed to be the mouth. Really, I didn't know what I wanted to do here. I just wanted to make something incredibly creepy. I'll definitely be redesigning him a little bit though. Anyway, this is my eerie god of mercy. I hope you like him. Thank you for listening to my ramblings. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're interested in learning more about the story, the world, and the characters within it, please like and subscribe. Good night.